this morning, as Tamara was saying, with a growing storm in the Conservative Party following two damaging election defeats. Boris Johnson admitting his party has to listen to the results after voters at opposite ends of the country cast a long shadow over his political future. Within 2 hours of the results being read out, the Conservative Party chair, Oliver Dowden, who should have been sat there, resigned. Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer says his party is on a course for a majority at the next general election. Lib Dems say the PM needs to be sent packing. The Business Minister Paul Scully told me this morning the party will respond. Lots to get through this morning. We'll have all the latest reaction throughout the programme. It's Friday the 24th of June. Good morning. Prime Minister might be glad he's waking up 4,000 miles away from here this morning in Rwanda. Overnight, the Conservatives suffered a double defeat in two key by-elections. Labour taking Wakefield, I think I'm right in saying that, tomorrow, a significant win as we head towards the general election, chipping away at that Conservative majority. And a record-breaking win for the Lib Dems in Tiverton and Honiton, which is now the highest Conservative majority to be lost at any by-election. Wow. The Minister this morning telling the programme the party will reflect, listen and respond. And if the losses weren't enough, within 2 hours of those results being announced, a massive resignation. It was the Conservative Party. That's the question that they're all asking each other. Of course it is. Let's put that to our political editor, Beth Rigby, who's travelling with the Prime Minister presently in Rwanda. Hello to you, Beth. So what do you think? He has to listen to the results after a bruising night at the polls for the Conservatives. Voters at opposite ends of the country casting a long shadow over his political future. The Tories suffering two by-election defeats within 2 hours of the results being read out. The Conservative chair, Oliver Dowden, who was due to be sitting right there, had resigned. Speaking to the programme today, Theresa May's former Chief of Staff, Lord Barwell, said if the Conservative Party doesn't change, they're sleepwalking into defeat in the next general election. We'll have all the latest throughout the show. It's Friday, the 24th of June. Head towards the general election, chipping away at the Conservative majority. And a record-breaking win for the Lib Dems in Tiverton and Honiton, which is now the highest Conservative majority to be lost at any by-election. And if that wasn't enough, within 2 hours of those results being announced, a massive resignation. The Conservative from a government representative this morning. Indeed. It should have been Oliver Dowden, the chair of the party. We went to bed thinking it was going to be him. We woke up thinking it was going to be him. And then just after 5:30, we had his letter on Twitter. Yes, 5:30 a.m. So I wonder if we could unpack it with you. Tamara's been looking at it for us as well this morning. Three things that struck us was distressed and disappointed. Somebody must take responsibility, remain loyal to the Conservative Party. What are your thoughts on those?
Ultimately, we are in a situation where lots of Boris Johnson supporters say, well...
OK, oh, when I say witch dogs, you say Irish setters?
Yep, and sausage dogs.
And sausage dogs, we saw one there. And there you go, Bear's first dogs at polling stations photo. There's another one as well. Pondering what might happen if the Prime Minister lost both by-elections, and he looked very happy as well. He was obviously a Lib Dem supporter, that one, wasn't he? It's great to have you in the studio. Come back and see us much more often.
Anytime.
Great. It's nice to have two ladies here as well, isn't it? So if you're just waking up this morning, the news is that the Prime Minister, the government, has lost two by-elections and one chair of the party. 5:30, just after 5:30 this morning, after those results came in, the Conservative chair said, I've had enough of this. You should read his letter. We'll show it to you in just a few moments here on Sky.
Resigned at 5:35 in the morning on the day that he was due to come to this studio, knowing there was...
You made those 3 points on the letter. This interesting that the day has been sort of written in, but June was there already, suggesting that he had been thinking about, I don't know if we can look at this, had been thinking about it for some time. It's interesting to get your thoughts on that. Distressed and disappointed, really strong words.
We will get through this, we will get through it well.
There you go.
But clearly we've got to listen from...
Ever so humble, as he does when these things happen. Won't that help?
It might have done in...
This, as Tamara was suggesting, potentially, is what tipped Oliver Dowden over the edge. Tell us why you thought that was the case, Tamara.
Well, look, Tiverton is a seat that has always been held by the Conservatives since its creation. It is not one of the leave. It's always been Conservative, and yet the Liberal Democrats managed to overturn a massive Conservative majority and also convince all the people who voted Labour in the general election to vote for them as well, as their candidate Richard Ford was saying there. He said that he was lent votes by people who wanted to get rid of Boris Johnson, and it's a stunning success. A 30% swing is huge for a by-election, and of them in Christchurch in 1993, a time when the Conservatives were in the doldrums. Sometimes these results aren't replicated in a general election, but still it's a lot worse than they would have expected.
That's absolutely right. But if you look at what happened in Tiverton and Honiton, the Conservatives got 35,000. That's why I personally would guess the Tories will retake that seat in the next election. But the national story of animus towards Boris Johnson, I think, is very clear.
Let's listen to Ed Davey, and then I'd be interested to hear what you think about his future prospects.
Hold the future of the Prime Minister in their hand. And the question is, are Conservative MPs going to...
Yeah, that's what Ed told me.
They could end up with 20, 25 for the next election, 30 if they're very lucky. But they're beginning their roads back after some pretty terrible years.
And their influence there as well. You're talking about Lib Lab pacts previously. Do you think we could go in that direction?
Kate, let me be pernickety. I wasn't talking about Lib Lab pacts, I was talking about minority Labour.
But it can come down to personalities, and that's what cost Gordon Brown the premiership, isn't it, when it came to Nick Clegg, because Nick Clegg said, I'm not doing any deals with him. If that's Nick Clegg on the phone telling you busy. Let's have a quick look at a couple of... No, don't be at all. If it's Boris Johnson, we'll chat to him. Quick look at what's happening as far as our tweets are concerned. This is some of the things that people have been saying today. Tony Blair's former... Special Advisor, Communications Director Alistair Campbell, damning as usual about the Prime Minister. Many thousands of you really, really interested in what he had to say on that this morning, particularly about the Tory party chairman stepping down and Lord Barwell, who you'll also know, very close to Margaret Thatcher. His tweet... Theresa May, forgive me, yes, indeed, the other female Prime Minister. If the Tories don't act fast, they're in hot water. You agree with that?
Yes, I do. I mean, I would liken Boris Johnson to the plane. I think we're in that state. Boris Johnson, I'm pretty sure, will be out. Whether he's out just now, next week, this autumn, next spring, I don't know. But his leadership is an aircraft with metal fatigue.
OK, well, I'm sure we'll be seeing some of these dogs at polling stations before too long. Scheduled for 2 years' time, but it could well be perhaps even before that. Peter, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. Great work, as always, from our Tamara. I'll see you next week. Hopefully I'll see you sometime soon. When will we see the Prime Minister again? Stay tuned for more here on Sky. So what do you expect to be happening at the moment, Mr Gawke? Will those cabinet ministers all be sort of on little WhatsApp groups talking to each other and figuring out what to do?
I certainly think they should be. These are really